What is up, everybody, and welcome to All Star 15 TV. We're doing something completely different tonight. It's going to be called Driver Talk, and we're talking to HutchSport Racing's Joe Hutchings and Garry Wells. And to start with that, why don't we have them introduce themselves? And it's going to be a little of an extended introduce. So, Garry, why don't we start with you? Let everybody know who you are, where you're from, and what your racing background is.
Yeah. So my name's Garry. You guys have heard this familiar voice on the channel, just with helping AJ doing the Thunderstorm League of Racing on Wednesday nights, and been over here with HutchSport Racing since around October. Our racing background's mostly been racing taxi cabs, virtually, or stock cars as we call them here in NASCAR. Um, Really started doing that around 2011, late 2011 with NASCAR Inside Line as my first online experience on the 360 back in the day. Um, Won a lot of races on the old NASCAR Inside Line, NASCAR 14, NASCAR 15, all that. Moved over to iRacing in 2019. Um, One of my first wins was in a redacted car at Auto Club Speedway. That was my first
Redacted
official.
car.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it because we're talking about you know what. And at Auto Club Speedway, my first NASCAR wins at Talladega. That was actually my first open setup win in the Xfinity car, and NIS win as well in the fall of 2019. Um, Also done my fair share of crew chiefing as well for Scott Ramler. Won a few races with him. Got a couple wins for Landon Williams, and of course this year's Daytona 24, helping out both the 57 and the 60 teams. Was able to have a hand and input as far as their double wins. So overall, I mean,
Which we'll talk about in just a little bit.
we will. But overall, I mean, I've kind of been here, there, and everywhere. Owned a team a couple of times. Didn't work out, but you know it is what it is. And just overall, I've had a blast so far.
All right, well, that was Garry Wells keeping it short and sweet. We're going to talk to him.
Well, Joe's got like 4 years to go through here, so
That was the joke I was going to make for pulling
Old ball.
you to go first here. Um, but let's get to our elder of the group, our town
get him his AARP
crazy
card,
person,
folks.
Joe.
Yes.
Mr. Joe Hutchings. How are you? And tell everybody who you are, what you do, and kind of a little bit of your racing background.
So my name is Joe Hutchings. I am from the Panhandle of Florida. I'm not going to say my exact location because I mean, you know, things. I value other people's safety.
Florida man.
Yep. I am the owner of HutchSport Racing, and the team's been around a really long time, and we made the move to iRacing back in 2019 from Forza Motorsport, Assetto Corsa, R Factor 2, and what else you want? Because I can go on forever.
Well, just hit the very important parts of your racing career, whether it's digital or real life.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been sim racing longer than the two of you have been alive. Started with the EA title Indianapolis 500 back in who knows when, and then moved up to IndyCar racing on Papyrus, and then IndyCar Racing 2, raced the NASCAR Papyrus stuff all the way up through NR 2003. Did a lot on the was it the IndyCar series games when they were out on Xbox and the PC, and then I kind of said, you know, I really want to go do something physical instead of sitting behind a screen all the time, and decided to go RC car racing. And that started getting a little expensive, so we kind of came back here, started doing Forza stuff again, and a little bit of R Factor 2 and Assetto Corsa, and then I said, screw it, we're going to iRacing because that's where everybody's at, and we kind of hit it at a good time. It was just before the the thing in 2020, and I had goals set for the team, and it's taken a little while, but we're starting to get to where I had dreamed at being at. Brought a lot of really good people along the way. Brought along some really good people. Moved up through HSR, and tell Landon to stop texting me on Facebook.
Why is that?
I got you.
You don't want to know what he just sent me, boys.
Oh boy. Oh
um,
dear.
we came up to iRacing. Was it me, Sean Garrett, and Rafael Santiago? We were gonna do NASCAR stuff with a friend of ours named Nathan Broker, and our first race we got taken out by the pace car. Yes, a manual pace car on iRacing. Somebody decided to run the Merc as a pace car, and we got destroyed. And
That actually sounds kind of fun. Why hadn't I never thought of that?
there's actually a video of it if you go under Golf McLaren F1 on my YouTube page. It is there. It is hysterical. It's funny now. There's actually a lot more videos up there of me ranting and raving and losing my mind, but I've turned away from that now. The team itself has been quite successful on iRacing. Numerous Indy 500 wins. Either myself or crew chiefing or coaching or doing setups for other drivers. Let's see, we have 2 IndyCar championships. Dalton Fredericks just got one this year. Or is it Dalton or Rambler? I don't remember which one. Who was it, Gary?
I'm pretty sure it was Rambler.
Was it Rambler? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry, Rambler. Rambler also
got
got
the
us.
NASCAR title though.
Yeah, Dalton got the NASCAR title, and then was it Rambler also got a he got us an Indy 500. He got us a well, we were an associate with him because he was racing under McConey, who happens to be one of our sponsors. He got that F1 title, and I was his crew chief for that. And then obviously the big one was the 24 hours of Daytona this weekend, and that huge effort trying to get that together. And I guess we'll talk more about it later, but like I said, this team started out as we were literally a couple of guys that were street racing Volkswagens back in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, and we were doing PC racing simulator stuff, and then moved to RC cars, and then one of the guys that kind of fell out, or the other guy, he kind of fell off the wayside. I haven't been able to find him anywhere on Facebook or Twitter or anything. So Phil Marmet, if you're out there, if you happen to see this, yeah, give me a call. You still got my number. It's the same number. It's been the same one for 25 years. I've done the real racing thing. I've done things for race teams. I've built my own race cars. I've raced at Blackhawk Farms up in Rockton, Illinois, Gingerman in Michigan. Competed at Road America a few times. I've driven cars at Chicagoland Speedway, and just all kinds of stuff. Personally, I'm trying to get a car back together so I can start real racing again. Hopefully here in very soon. I'm pointing fingers at people. They know who they are. I'm not giving any names. But yeah, my vision for the team 20 years ago compared to now is completely changed, and I'm glad that I have this, as I called it earlier, the ragtag group of misfits to bring along for the ride. So
yeah, which those group of misfits are like a freaking family now, which is kind of scary. But with that, you were able to put together a crazy enough group of people to go out and dominate the Daytona 24, which we're going to talk about later. But what started your love with road racing? Because you talked about coming into iRacing and talking about NASCAR. But what was it? Was it Formula One? Was it IndyCar? What was it? Your love
So,
of road racing?
so I'm gonna give a little story here, okay? Back in 2020, ahead of the was it well, it was we were coming up to the tail end of the COVID shutdowns and everything, and the missus and I decided that we needed to get away for a vacation, and the Historic Sports Car Racing League was running Daytona, and the missus and I went there for our anniversary that year, and it had been a while since I had been to a racetrack, and it had been a really long time since I had been around historic race cars. We go there. I knew a lot of people there. I actually got to meet Ray Evernham there, and a couple of his buddies that he likes to race with in the historic series. And then, there were actually some other professional drivers that were around. So it was actually really cool. It was pretty intimate, and it just kind of it refueled my love for sports car racing. And um, I've been watching sports car racing for a long time. Actually, two of my best friends, I'm going to name them outright, Jeremy Cosman and his uncle Brett Cosman, were the ones that really got me into road racing because I had grown up around Indy cars previously, and they're the ones that started taking me to historics races, and that's really really fell in love with sports car racing. But to get back to where I was back in 2020. I get back from the race, and at the time with HSR, um, we had a gentleman by the name of Mike Robinson, uh, who unfortunately doesn't race with us anymore. Um, I told him, I said, we really need to start thinking about running the 24 hours of Daytona. And what's he do? He's got a prototype, and he goes out and wins Charlotte. And I said, okay, well, if you're winning Charlotte and you're running good in the prototype, well, I really don't want to run a prototype. I want to run a GT3 car. And we kind of just said, okay, screw it. And started putting together a practice program, finding people to run the race with us. We had numerous people that we know through the iRacing community that, wanted to sit there and be part of the effort. And they, they jumped on board, and um, they helped us take that BMW M4 GT3 to a third place finish. Actually, one of the gentlemen that was in that car, his name's Mike Rupp. He's now our new road team leader. He was in that car with us. And we led about 9 hours of that race, and a set of unfortunate circumstances kept us from winning that race, but it's okay. It was our first time. We ended up finishing third. I'm not going to complain about it. It's a podium, right? So the next year we implemented the same plan that Robinson and I had put together, and uh, went and we ended up bringing on Garry and a couple of people that he knew to help us get through Daytona, because I had lost a bunch of people and we were only running 4 drivers and I needed crew chiefs really bad. And I essentially that day said, Garry, this team is yours. Whatever you says goes. And Garry called probably the most perfect race you possibly could have. Unfortunately, some dumbass, I'm not pointing any fingers at myself, decided that the headlight switch was the pit road speed limiter and pretty much took us out of contention, put us 2 laps down, and we ended up finishing second. Oh well. That night, we had our debrief, and I literally told everybody that night, I said, I will not accept anything but a win at the 2023 version of this race. And we spent a year pretty much bouncing from team to team, trying to see where we were going to fit in and who was going to have the resources to kind of help out. And we ended up reestablishing HSR back in November, and brought along the people that wanted to be part of the team again. And fortunately, I got you, AJ, and I brought I got Garry, and all these wonderful people that been working with us. And it was a lot of stress over those several months, because we were so far behind in our planning and practicing, and plus changing to the new car didn't help either. um we ended up overcoming, persevering, and absolutely put on a clinic for the 24 hours of Daytona, not once but twice in the same day. And our co-op car for with the Wises, and I still can't remember half the people on that team. Gary's would probably be able to belt out those names pretty well.
Jason Branch,
but-
Jeff Figlin, Scott Bellum, Scott Wise were the drivers. Lauren Wise was the crew chief.
And this is why Garry was race management. This is 100% why Garry was race management.
Yeah,
Because I wasn't going to be able to do it. I barely knew the people that were in my car.
yeah, they ended up recovering from some adversity and ended up finishing
A lot
third.
of
So
adversity. They came back from basically
Well,
dead last.
hold on.
last,
Before we go
finished,
into
third.
talking about this year's Daytona 24, sorry, Garry, for cutting you off. Garry, let's talk about what your role was, because, I've heard of spotters, I've heard of crew chiefs. You were Mr. Race Management, going from car to car to car, lobby to lobby to lobby. What was that like? How was that brought to light? Basically, why? And how difficult was that?
Well, honestly, race day it wasn't too terribly bad. I mean, yeah, we had a couple of hiccups with every car, but I made sure that we put in some really strong crew chiefs in those three cars, and we did. Lauren offered the crew for the Wise car, that was a wise decision on my end.
You were setting yourself up for that.
Yeah.
I heard that coming all the way from the freaking bleachers.
nice setup on the tee there, boss.
Yeah. Putting them together, putting her with them was a good choice, and she did a great job. They had some things come apart. They wrecked a couple of times, and like I was saying, they came back from dead last, either in class or overall, and
It was overall.
They were like 30 or 40 laps down at one point. They made those up. They got to about 22 or 12 laps down ish, and they finished third overall. So they did really well. The 60 car, Mike Watts was having computer issues, and he did 4 stints, 4 fuel runs, and then the computer had its demons, and we basically, in the middle of the night, I think it was about 11:30, almost midnight, we basically had to change the whole schedule again. From that point to the end of the race, that was a high-strung moment. Basically, we were down to 3 drivers up until about 4 a.m., and then from 4 a.m. forward, we were just down to Mike Rupp and Joe Hutchings, and it was really helpful that we had that 12-lap lead, because I don't know what we would have done if we didn't have that gap, and they were able to maintain it, and they came across the line in first. It was really cool. Got to see them come across the finish line in first. The 57 car, I mean, they had their own fair share of issues. The 7 o'clock race started on pole. Things were going great. And I was thinking, this might be too good to be true. And then there was a GT3 car that had wrecked in turn 1. Peyton was just got out on the track, about his second or third lap in, and he just had nowhere to go after that car bounced off into the inside wall in turn 1. And we had to regroup for the 10:30 or the 11 o'clock lobby, and they just put on a total clinic. At one point, we're almost 2 laps down overall, like 8th or 9th. They were thinking we may get a podium out of this thing. And then some things happened overnight. They got the car right. A couple things fell their way with the leaders wrecking out and everything, and they ended up winning the race by over 30 laps. and equate that with about a 3-mile road course, and I think it was like they won by over 100 miles or something, which is crazy to think about. You don't see that in real life anymore because of how close the competition is. You don't really see that on iRacing much. So the fact that they pulled out a retro race, so to speak, back in the 80s, you would see, and even the 60 team as well. I mean, they pulled out victories by multiple laps. And you don't see that very often anymore. But it was cool to see you guys on race day execute the game plan that we had. It was really cool just to kind of bounce around to see how all the cars were doing. At times it was a little stressful, but otherwise, it was really just cool to be able to go and watch everybody and see how everybody was doing. And overall, I thought everybody did a heck of a job. Like Joe said, it was an absolute clinic, and the game plan was executed to a T and brought home the big W twice.
Yeah, well, you mentioned winning by over 100 miles. It was kind of like a 114.24, but who's counting?
I said over 100.
And you were 100% right. But now that we've transitioned, it's late. Apologize, but thank you everybody for tuning in, watching, and having fun with us. But now that we're transitioning from what Garry doing with race management, let's jump right into that 60 car. Let's not fully break it down, but let's hit some of those highlight moments that went on that in that car, Joe. Because Garry alluded to some hardware issues, and while he still did his fair share, how taxing was that on the rest of the team? Because I heard you actually jumped in the car for a longer period of time because of it, also trying to help him fix his stuff.
Right.
So real quick, go through some of the highlights of that 60 car.
Well, I know my first initial stints, I ended up getting brake checked and end up wrecking the car into a GT3, and it ended up putting damage on the car. And we were running like nearly 15 miles an hour slower than any other prototype, and I was just losing ground. I'm just trying to hang on. And Mike Campigio, who was our crew chief, I eventually told him, I said, I have 5 laps to pit and I can't keep up. We're losing time. We have to do something about this. So we ended up coming in, had 2 minutes and 30 seconds of damage repair, and got back out there. And we were only 2 laps down at that point. So it was like, okay, cool. And, finished off my stint. And then the boys, Rupp, Watts, and Kyle Zimmer get on there, and they just threw down an absolute clinic, just running consistent laps. It wasn't necessarily the fastest laps, but we were hitting traffic at a good time. So we were, running 134s, 135s, which is actually really freaking good in traffic. So, we get back to, we get up to one of my stints later in the evening, and this is when Watts started talking about his computer, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, I can't diagnose your computer while I'm driving, so I'm sitting there driving. He's talking to me and what he's trying to do. I'm trying to help him out as much as I can, and then eventually I get out of the car, hand it over to. I don't remember. I think I handed it over to Zimmer at that time.
No, we handed it over to Rupp. It was Rupp.
Yeah, it was Rupp.
I had to wake Rupp out of his sleep to come into the car. It was getting pretty hectic. I had to have Zimmer on standby just in case, but Rupp did end up coming back.
So I end up spending nearly an hour and a half trying to help out Watts diagnose his computer, which eventually we found out was the power supply issues.
Ooh.
And
you didn't plug it in all the way.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna detail that.
Oh, sorry.
That was the full.
Hey, quick,
we know what's wrong with it. Not getting into it.
Quick thing, okay? There's this thing called the Ford Wiggle Test. All right, it's an actual procedure from Ford. All right, you can actually look it up on Google, where it's actually part of the repair procedure to go through and wiggle your connectors. So if you're ever having computer issues, people out there in computer land, wiggle your damn connectors. And I'm not talking about just the ones that go into the side of the computer. Wiggle every one of them. All right, you'll find one loose. Trust me.
I mean, I wiggle my connector every morning.
Oh, Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
God.
Anyways, no, we ended up getting, we ended up making the decision to pull
This is why
Watts.
we're doing this at midnight.
Yeah.
Right.
That we ended up pulling Watts, and because Zimmer was pretty much, he was on borrowed time for the rest of the evening. It was, Rupp and I sitting there running laps. I'm sitting there falling asleep behind the wheel of the dang car. We already have a 13 lap lead at that point, and we're just riding. And sometime during that one overnight stint that I had, I ended up getting ass packed by the second place car. It's like, dude, we're not racing anybody. You can't catch us right now. We could lose 2 seconds a lap to you guys and still win the race. Go around. Nope. Nope. He's got to sit there and blow the West Horseshoe and go wham right in the back end of the car. Fortunately, we didn't have any damage. But I ended up getting out of the car. Everybody was yelling at me to take a damn nap. So I ended up sleeping in my chair while Rupp was sitting there half asleep, sitting there turning laps. And then
I didn't get that till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
yeah. And then I get back in the car, and I get in the car with 38 minutes left, and with the final 10 laps, I was sitting there trying to keep the damn car on track with tears in my eyes, going, I cannot believe that we're about to win the 24 Hours of Daytona on iRacing, number one. Number two, we're bringing it in probably the most perfect way that I could have ever dreamed of it happening, where we were so far freaking ahead that it's just basically, can we just set the cruise control to 80 miles an hour and burn the clock? So I was just, riding. And then at the end, I think we had like 5 minutes to go. All the rest of the prototype field was right behind us. And they're like, go around. We're like yelling at them, go around. And they wouldn't go around because they didn't want to run any extra laps. They knew what I was doing. They already knew. What was it? We had 15 minutes to go in the race before we pretty much said,
It was about 10 minutes, yeah.
there's really nothing they can do to catch us. It's over with.
You're talking all that.
We about told you to go down pit road there a couple times just to do a pass through so everybody would get around us.
You're talking all that for 13 laps.
But
that's cute. That's cute.
But there's more, AJ. So something Joe's not telling you, and I looked into this a little bit. So this was Joe's 13th try, right, in trying to win this race. Do you know where they started this race, AJ? They started
13th.
They started 13th overall. You know when they took the lead of the race and didn't let go after that? The 13th hour. It was just meant to be.
Hey, wait, you know that Mike Rupp's real race car is number 13?
His real number's 13. Mike Rupp on his real race car. It's just meant to be.
Me and a bunch of people that I sim race with on Assetto Corsa, we do like a we do this vintage Indianapolis 500, and we've attempted to the 24 on R Factor and Forza 7 and all this other crap, and we either come up second place or we end up getting taken out early, and it's just like, you know what, we're just gonna try again next time, forget it. The real frustrating one, the most frustrating one was the one last year, because they put the team ended up putting their alien in, and he drove for like 10 hours straight.
Yeah, he drove for a long time.
Yeah. So it was just, we tried everything. I was turning laps. I was turning record laps, sitting there trying to catch them. Rupp was sitting there turning qualifying laps trying to catch these guys, and there was nothing we could do. It was horrid. We were just beat. We spent literally the last 12 hours of that race trying to chase down first place, and they didn't falter. We didn't falter until I got back in the car, but we're not gonna point fingers again. Anyways, just a lot of people sit there and look at this as a game, right? I look at it as a game, but it's a quote unquote simulator. But I'm pretty passionate about my motorsports. I don't care if it's on a computer, real life, it doesn't matter, okay? When you have 365 days to put together an effort where initially it was only supposed to be one car, then it was two cars, then it was three cars, then it was four cars, and then we backed it down to three. Then we backed it down to two, and then we went back up to three. Three was where we locked it in. All right. You're coordinating over 25 people, three cars, 12 drivers, and you end up coming up with results like we came up with. I'm
So
surprised
how
more.
We
I'm
did have our
surprised more
fair
people.
share of test drivers. I mean, shout
Yeah.
out to Brendan Storr and Jake May as well. I mean, they came in and tested for us. Scott Ramler as well. You know, he was scheduled to drive the 57. And then, you know, a few weeks before the race, he told us, guys, I got something planned that weekend. And it was unfortunate where he was a little upset that he couldn't make it because, you know, he would have been he would have been a part of that 57 win. And hell, who knows? Maybe he might have might have pulled it out to where they maybe have won by 50 laps instead. Ramler is one of the most talented iRacers that I've ever come across. I mean, he wins a NASCAR, he wins an IndyCar, F1, IMSA. I mean, I kind of like to call him the AJ Foyt of iRacing because you name a car, he can get in it and he can be very competitive.
So
I'm gonna
question.
call,
I'm gonna
call him the heavier version of Scott Dixon. How about that? Or should we call or should we call him by his proper name? The Vanilla Gorilla is
I
the
mean,
is the heavier version of was it Ronald Dixon? Yeah,
So
I used
Joe,
your real
a
name, bitch.
question for you, and this could go to Garry too, because I don't know if he had a hand in it as well. How do you hand pick teams for a car?
I'll let you answer that first, Joe. Go ahead.
I took the. I already knew that I was going to be running this race with Watts and Rupp because we have raced numerous endurance events together already, and like I said before, Rupp and I have done every or just about every endurance event together. I think I've missed he missed a Watkins Glen, and then I missed Road Atlanta, but you know there's a couple that we haven't been able to get our schedules straight for. But you know, I've run 3 Daytonas with Rupp, and I wouldn't change a damn thing. Um, Watts has always been solid, and you know we complement each other on our times. And then you know after I put that team together, we went and started looking at okay, so who's within certain amount of time of each other. All right, so like you have uh Watts, Rupp, myself, we're sitting there turning 133s, 134s, right? And without traffic, and 134s, 135s in traffic. And throw Zimmer in that mix. So it was like, okay, we're all running the same times. Our I ratings are pretty close. Let's, let's work together on this. And then the other car, the 57 car, it was, you know, Karsten Gregory, who's an absolute freaking alien kid, as Brandon has nicknamed him. Beanpole, who Dalton, who since he's come on to iRacing in this year, he has gone from little bean sprout to the actual bean pole, just sitting there, he's just a monster behind the wheel of the car. And then Landon Williams, who is one of our driver admin for HSR, and he's a pretty good driver coach too. We have him, in that car along with, Ramler. Just, they all complemented in their times. They kind of just, gelled together. So what you want to do is you want to sit there and see who's running similar times, and then look at iRatings next.
Yeah,
And then
and I think the toughest part, honestly, was finding that fourth driver for Joe's car. Uh, it was really hard to find that fourth spot. We were Joe and I probably debated it for a couple of days Just who could we put in that fourth spot because it was kind of shaky, and then we really wanted that 57 car because we knew we were going to put a lot of talented drivers together. It was just a matter of finalizing that car and getting those guys to, practice together. I thought, honestly, because those guys on that 57 car were so different, I didn't know how they were going to get along for 24 hours. And, in a 24-hour period, AJ, you were the crew chief for that car. You really get to find out who they are.
It was
You
great.
see a lot of their true colors. And I didn't think they were going to get along. And you know what? Boy, was I
We had a
wrong.
blast.
They ended
We
up
had an
becoming the best of
absolute
friends.
blast.
They all had a blast. And it was a lot of good banter. And I
Let's
mean,
not-
same thing with the 60
don't
car.
don't forget about Peyton. Peyton, he can be very consistent, and that's why he made,
Yeah.
he made that spot for the 57.
Yeah.
And what was really nice about that is that he had a lot of really good talent around him that coached him to be even better than what he already is. So,
Yeah, he really his performance really started taking off once he started talking with Dalton, and Rambler, especially there at the beginning, and then Landon. Everybody just kind of stepped in and was like, "Hey, try this in this corner, try this gear in that corner, and try braking here instead of here." And he did all those things, and he was running 136s, 137s, and he started picking up. Then he got into the 135s and then the 134s, and he just started picking up, seconds off his lap time. And by race day, I mean he got into his second run in the car, and he was running just as fast as the fast guys on the team, and he was doing really well.
Yeah, I was very proud of Peyton, and I know he didn't feel like it on his first two stints, like his first time in the car. Uh, but he was scaring a lot of us with some of the lines he'd be taking, like he'd be out in the marbles, and then after that, Garry, myself, and I think it was just us two. We talked to him, and when he got back in that car, it was like a completely different driver. It's like he stepped out, jumped into a practice session somehow, and turned about another 100 laps, and he aced his second time in the car to the point where he was running better lap times than three-quarters of the rest of the lobby
And I went to you, and
consistently.
I was just like, are you sure you want this to be his last stint? We could put him in for one more.
Well,
You guys are like,
after
"No,
seeing
we got the plan." I was like, okay, all right.
after seeing how well he was crew chiefing Landon and Karsten, it was great to have him in that car that second stint. But I was really happy and proud of what he was doing as a crew chief, and he'd still make it lighthearted. Like every time we'd come out of the back end of the horseshoe, remember your ERS, remember that ERS, that little flicker button thingy you press for the battery packy thingy.
Yeah. And as a crew chief, I just get to the point, and Joe knows this. All right, remember your tools. I just tell drivers that every lap. Just remember your tools. They're there. You know how to use them. Make sure you use them right. So.
But I think at least for car 57, because I didn't really jump into anybody else's lobby because I didn't know I could. Number one, number two, I was crew chiefing, trying to keep everybody on the same page, trying to keep the spreadsheet all focused. But come nighttime, where it was just Landon and myself, and I'm like, I'm falling asleep. Landon just mentioned he was tired 30 seconds before getting into the freaking vehicle, like an asshole.
oh,
So
called
I went
out.
So I went to my YouTube and I shared my screen, and we were just blasting rock music, and I could literally feel him behind the wheel of the car, because I sometimes saw the car jerk back left and right as he's like bopping his head or whatever. And I'm like, are you jamming out to the music too? He goes, hell yeah, I just missed that turn. Shit, 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 shit. All right, we're good, we're good, we're good.
Yeah.
But no, it was a lot of fun. We had like nicknames of every single car on the track, which we'll talk about, because this isn't the only thing we're doing with Driver Talk. I want to try to sit down with both the 60 and 57 drivers and just talk about their racing careers, them in either iRacing or real life, and talk about, a little bit of a gloat session about how we just completely mollywopped the field.
Mollywopped. What is this? The 1920s?
Yes,
Sure.
sir.
Jesus.
It could be, my good man. But
Rawr.
let's really talk about the back end of that 24. You guys won with a 13 lap lead in the 60.
Yes. Well, yeah, I
And
think it was
I think it ended up being 12.
it was 13, right? But it ended up being I think on paper it ended up being 12 because second place ended up passing me while I was sitting there trying to hold the car together for the last 10 laps.
Yeah.
so literally real quick, Joe, and maybe just a couple sentences tops. How emotional were you getting when you heard that white flag, that last lap, and the checkered "you won, pal" from the spotter?
It wasn't even then. It was when Rupp came across the radio, and I actually had to like mix out my I had to mix out the drivers because everybody was chatting, and I was like, guys, I'm trying to concentrate. And I'm
Gotta keep the car together.
I'm half asleep, and my eyes are like full of water right now, and I'm trying to not choke because I've been sick for the last 2 weeks. And it was when I caught Rupp saying, "Hey, Joe, we've pretty much just won. We have 10 minutes to go, and you can pretty much do anything to the car. They can't catch us." That's when I lost it. That was the point. It wasn't even the checkered flag. It was well, it was at that point I knew. I was like, you know what, we've done it. All right, there's nothing the other teams can do to catch us, and that was a defining moment right there. It wasn't the checkered flag because the checkered flag just was the formality at that point.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think for me, just seeing that car across the finish line, because I know how hard these guys work, and I know the effort that everybody has put into the effort for this
No
race, and I know that Joe had been trying for a long time, 13 tries in 20 years, and I kind of had my own Mike Joy moment, if you will, for when Dale Earnhardt won the Daytona 500 back in 1998. I just said after 20 years of trying and frustration, you guys just won the 2020. You guys just won the Daytona 24.
If I end up blanking out in 3 years, I'm blaming you. I will haunt you at your house.
Oh boy.
Well,
All
let's
right,
hope
you
that
heard it here
doesn't
first.
happen, right?
There, hey,
Man.
so there is a bunch of people that I would like to thank though. If we could do that, AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
I hear you unrolling the TP list.
Hold on. Let me get that list out here.
Grab out the notebook here.
It's not even.
I'd
not
like
even,
to thank the Academy.
It's,
I'd like to thank everybody in that lobby for letting us whip their freaking candy asses.
I'm gonna make it really really easy. Okay, everybody on HSR, everybody for Scott Wise's team. All
I
right.
say that wasn't English for a second there.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it everybody put in an absolute monster effort. I'm not, everybody knows who they are. All right. Here, I'll just run them down real quick. Garry, AJ, Mike Campigio, let's see, what other crew chiefs do we have? Jordan Polly,
Lauren,
Scott
Romer,
Wise, Brett Romer,
Marco Evans,
Jeff Figlin in the 31, Jason Branch in the 31, Scott Bellum in the 31, Mike Rupp, Mike Watts, Kyle Zimmer, myself in the 60, Dalton Fredericks, Carson Gregory, Landon Williams, Peyton Sweet in the 57, Scott Ramler, Jake May. I could go on and on and on. Was it pretty much everybody put in some sort of effort into this help. Brandon Storr helped us out. He raced with I think a team called Project Solaritas. Brighton Laster, you might know him as a ARCA driver.
He helped with our social media. That was a big help.
He helped us out. Yeah, he helped us out with social media.
He took some nice photos.
Yeah. The and I gotta thank our partners, Maconi Setup Shop, the Drinking Bros Auto Racing page, Nerds Doing Nerds Things, Team Losey Racing, and SWS Chassis. And then the last thing I'm gonna say, and AJ, the
announcement.
Click it?
the one thing
Yeah.
that the one thing I didn't list, but I'm going to list it now. This is the bomb. Yeah.
This is where I click the button, right?
This
So
is where you push the big red button.
so
But that
for the
says
last
shut down.
whoa, don't shut down. Anyways,
button.
over the last couple of months after we went and hit the reset button on HSR, I really wanted to put a title sponsor to this team, and I made a promise to AJ that I was going to help push All Star 15 TV to be to the next level, try to get him up to his 1,000 subscribers, and really help get this channel to take off. And the deal, it's not signed necessarily yet. He's we've kind of agreed on the contract terms at this point, right, AJ? I'm assuming.
In principle, yes.
Yes, in principle, yes.
Handshake deal right now.
But as of the end of the HSR fiscal year 2022-2023, the name will be changing over to All Star 15 TV HutchSport Racing. We're bringing AJ on as a title sponsor for the team, and you're going to see a whole lot more of All Star 15 on track. Might it be with cup cars, redacted cars, aka those indie style open wheelers. Maybe not at the nice big speedway, but you'll see pictures of them. Pretty much any road racing efforts, All Star 15 will be on the cars. We also have plans to have several cars that will be running in league races. That will be primary sponsor All Star 15 TV, and this is all in an effort to not only push AJ to the next level, but to kind of push our entire effort as a group to the next level and really show our actual talents, show the people that we aren't just a ragtag group of misfits, that we actually belong running with the best of the best on iRacing. So AJ, thank you very much again. And Garry, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate everything you have done. Dalton Fredericks, I know you're watching somewhere out there in TV land.
Oh, he's watching.
That man right there, he's put up with a lot of my bullshit. Since
that's a big pile of shit.
Yeah, it is a big pile of shit.
Jurassic Park reference there, people.
Some people didn't get it.
Well, I was just telling the people in the back.
Yell it. But, and all the rest of the admin that, have helped us out, making sure that, we have what we have today. So, hi.
Dalton is here.
I am here. But yes, I'm proud of this team. I am appreciative of everybody here. I am ecstatic that not only did we get the win that has eluded me for a long time, but we got 2 cars. Was it 2 cars with W's next to their names and one with an asterisk? Yes, the 57 gets the asterisk. You want to argue with me? Fight me. All right, change my mind.
So I'm just gonna comment on the All-Star 15 HutchSport Racing thing real fast. You guys have been like another family for me, and at any time ever throughout this relationship, I had no problem being like, hey, you want to broadcast this shit to get our drivers out there? Absolutely. And while you say we're gonna push All Star 15 to the moon, it's also, in my opinion, another way to get Dalton's name out there, Landon's name out there, Scott, you, Garry. You know, I am really excited to see where this goes. I know I'm currently just sitting at 290, which, for everybody watching at home, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. See a lot of racing shit right here on All Star 15 TV. Cheap plug over.
Shameless plug.
No, it's cheap because I don't pay for it.
And shameless. It's okay.
But no, I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see what our cars do, and if it's anybody, I trust you guys and I trust a lot of other people, and there's only a select group of people I would put my business on. And to give you guys the not the keys to the kingdom, but you guys are going to help me get to my dream, and hopefully we get some of our guys the notoriety and I don't want to say get them out there so other people can see how good our drivers are, especially when it comes to Road to Pro and some of these endurance races. But appreciate you guys. And
there's also
Garry?
another sponsor that I forgot. Yes, they Dalton.
Is it
Detoured by
Dalton's?
Design? Yeah, Detoured by Design. There's also other sponsors out there, but those are the ones that were part of the effort. So I apologize for that. Dalton, you can kick my ass later.
I just want to say Dalton sponsored Detoured by Design, crossed the checkered line before any other sponsor.
That is true.
That they were on the nose.
Yep, they were.
They were on the nose.
Well,
they won before Dalton did.
Hey, and it's just amazing how how many people we have to thank. I mean, the list was endless, and the fact that you only forgot one thing, Joe, is pretty incredible. Sorry, Dalton, but I mean, there's just so many people that help with this effort, and of course, we appreciate everybody that has stepped up to the plate and done their part for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Let's get this channel to 1,000. Just because it's the next milestone on the channel. I've already hit, milestones on videos, at least personal milestones, nothing YouTube cares about. But the first time I ever hit 250 views on a video, the first time I ever hit 300, I want to see more people tune into racing on this channel because I go after the best leagues. And I get the best leagues, whether it's Monday night with Extreme Forces or Wednesday night with the Thunderstorm League of Racing. And when Tuesday night returns, it's going to be pretty awesome to see what comes back and how that's going to roll, because it's going to be a different series, and it's going to be a lot of talent and a lot of fun.
We're working on that.
Still giving you guys the hype that you're gonna get.
Oh, I appreciate that.
But guys, you got anything left? Garry?
No. I mean, this with this announcement and really just seeing that 2023 Daytona 24 champions, it still has.
Oh, do you want to see that bigger again? I can.
No, I mean you can, but it just it still hasn't.
It's right there.
Still hasn't sunk in for me yet.
Wait, so it didn't sink in after the first one? It didn't sink after the second one? What the hell?
I mean,
actually,
huh?
You got. I don't know if you guys heard Landon earlier today, but he went and said he's like, I woke up this morning and it finally hit me. It was like we won it, and not only that, but we have 2 cars win it.
Yeah.
So, and I don't care. All you haters out there can sit there and be like, oh, well, it was lower splits or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I really don't give a rat's ass what you think unless you've actually been out there and raced the fucking race like we have, or me doing it 13 fucking times. Yeah, you guys can all go fuck yourselves. We actually won this damn thing. I want to know how many you guys have won. And not only that, but to try to get 2 cars to win it in the same year, yeah, I got double barrel middle fingers for all you fucks. Excuse
So
me,
what do
I
they
didn't
say?
use a fuck, but
What do they say? It doesn't matter how you get them; it's that you got them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still printing out that certificate when I get it. I don't care what the F split I'm in.
Yeah. So
I could care less. I was just happy and proud of our teams for kicking
teams.
major donkey butt.
Yeah. Yeah, we did really good. I mean, it's just yeah.
We were the best. We were the best team in iRacing that day.
Yeah.
What other teams had multiple wins? I don't know any. Do you know any?
I'm going to tell you this right now. I
I know
follow
a
a
couple
lot of
that got
teams.
I know a couple that got redacted.
Oh, not yeah.
I'm just gonna
Um,
leave it at that, folks. Just gonna leave it at
I
Hey,
follow
that's a nice apron.
I follow a lot of. Oh,
that.
I know a lot of. I follow a lot of teams on Twitter and Facebook, and I can tell you right now, there's. I don't know if there's any other team out there that was able to pull this off without cheating.
Nah.
Oh, zing.
Another one.
Yeah.
Bazinga.
I don't care how it came down. All right, there's still this nice little certificate that I have with my name on it that says that I won the 34th split of the 24 hours of Daytona on iRacing, and there's nothing right now that can change that because we did it legitimately, and we came through adversity, and maybe not as much as some other people, but I know
My team.
we it literally with trying to help Watts get his computer back up and running, it literally felt like we were sitting in the pits trying to get a car back running and get it back out on the track. All right, it literally felt like we were trying our hardest to get to put maximum effort to
And I can't
win
tell you how
this
many
race.
times I went back and checked on them guys. I was like, it would be about every 10, 15 minutes, be like, hey, how you guys doing? Do I need to pull the trigger on the backup plan? Are you guys okay? Do you need anything? And then it just got to a point at around, a few minutes before, um, Zimmer was supposed to get back in the car because Rep had taken over Watts's shift. It was just like, yeah, we need to get Zimmer in the car. And so I called up Zimmer. I was like, hey, you need to get in here. And he got in and drove the car and did what he had to do and helped us out quite a bit. He was a lifesaver. I know he didn't drive much in the nighttime and in the late hours, but I mean he stepped up and drove 2 stints when he didn't have to, and and was able to really get some much needed rest for both Rep and for Joe. So
Mm-hmm. There is one more person I'd like to have a shout out to, and I know you guys will appreciate this one, but we really need to shout out my wife.
yeah,
After
Why she didn't kill
hi
you?
Mandy.
after what happened with Watts's computer, my poor wife, we had it scheduled that I was going to be able to get off of here at about 1 o'clock in the morning, so my wife could go to sleep because my rig is in our bedroom because I live in a crack shack, and
I need to come visit.
you need to come down to Florida, man. uh I that my wife had to put up with me sitting there belly aching about people sitting there driving like complete assholes, and she kept yelling at me to be quiet, and it's like I can't, I have to be able to talk, and I'm sitting there, my voice is finally starting to come back from my freaking laryngitis that I had last week, and it's all squeaky, and I'm sitting there going honk, so they're trying to make people laugh and shit, and
Keep them awake.
yeah, I was kept my wife awake, so she's if there's anybody who deserves the MVP of this entire effort, it's my wife for putting up with all my bullshit. So
Well, and she didn't even need to ask you like how y'all did. I mean, she saw the look on your face after the race. and that's when she knew.
Yep. So
Women are good
Kind
at
of in that
by
same.
the way.
I'm kind of in the same boat with Jessica, because she saw my crewing schedule. She kind of told me where would it be best, because like she can't fall asleep unless I'm up there, because I'll wake up the dog as I'm walking upstairs. He doesn't give a shit if it's just me up there. It's he's protecting mommy. But no, when I decided, or unintentionally decided, to stay up till 2 a.m. when my shift was supposed to be over at like 12 in the afternoon. So I stayed at the computer the whole effing time when I shouldn't have, and spent no time with my wife. She comes downstairs at 2:30 and she goes, "Honey, you look like death." And Landon comes over the radio. "It's cuz he's probably dead." She couldn't hear that. I heard that. Could not stop laughing. And Landon goes, "I got it. I'll crew chief for Dalton." He's like, "AJ, go to bed." "All right, cool. Bye."
I had I I had Veda coming in and asking if how we were doing, and she wanted to make sure that we were still in first place. And that child was it right after I came across the line, and we were sitting there chatting and kind of debriefing after the after I proceeded to turn those Michelin tires into freaking liquid. She kind of like, "Did you win?" And I'm like, "Did the tears in my face sit there and tell the story?" She's like, "Okay, you won." I was like, "Yes, we did." And to see the joy on my daughter's face, all right, that kind of hit me harder because she knows how much effort we all put into this crap, and uh, she was legitimately happy for us, and not just me. She was happy for everybody. So
The only thing that could have made this all better is if we were actually all together running this and could have celebrated together.
hey, you know what? We stayed in our lobby after we wrecked the car. Wink. Star next to
Your
your W.
your toe wasn't off for the rest of the race though.
Yeah, you're right. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
We've
A 32 lap lead, winning the race with 49 minutes left? I'm sorry. What?
He's gonna keep rubbing that in your face, Joe. Sorry.
I'm gonna keep rubbing it in his face that we crossed the line first.
Redacted.
We just wanted to cross the line last so more people could be watching us at the end of it.
Oh, I see how it is.
Because I'm pretty sure our whole lobby was packed and I was sharing my screen.
You're right. But
oh, I know I'm right.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know something though?
What?
It really doesn't matter. You want to know why?
Because we fucking won.
Because we put 2 double barrel middle finger number 1s up in the air.
What are you, Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yep.
Because I said so. Yes.
So does this mean next year we
have to finish 0th place next year?
We defend?
Yeah, so 2021 we finished 3rd, 2022 we finished 2nd, and now in 2023 we finished 1st. So even was it, I think Rupp said it, we're supposed to finish 0.
Yeah.
Oh, look at look at Dalton here. We were higher split too. Yeah. Okay. Yep. You guys were in a bunch of lobby with a bunch of people that wrecked in the first one. But I'm not. You know what? Let's not have a pissing competition, boys. Let's do it this way. All right. Let's put this crap behind us. We all won. All right.
On to Sebring.
And Rupp is currently planning the 24 hours of beers.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, that should be entertaining.
Oh, I think I'm crew chiefing that.
Yeah, it should be entertaining. You can. I want to see if JJ can keep up with me drink for drink. I guarantee he can't. I could probably drink our entire team's worth of beer and still be fine enough to drive. Don't drink and drive, people. It's bad.
Dude, I'm only 29. I don't have hundreds of years of experience of alcohol.
Whoa.
Hundreds. He said hundreds.
Hundreds of years. I see how it is. I only got what? Shit, I can't even do math anymore. I'm old.
You've ran out of fingers.
I've run out of
And
fingers.
toes.
Yeah, I run out of fingers and toes. I got to use them twice, actually 3 times now because I'm going to be 42 this year.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, let's close it up. We're almost at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So
we're good.
next one for us is the 24 hours of beer.
That's right.
Yeah, 24 hours of beers, and then I think we're skipping Bathurst and going on to Sebring. That's a Mike Rupp
correct.
question that you'll have to ask when it's their turn to do the to do this, which I get to do it again in the 60 car. Yes.
All right, everybody. Well, for Gary, for Joe, I'm AJ. They're from HutchSport Racing. I'm from All Star 15 TV and HutchSport Racing, as you kind of saw that photo. But Wednesday night we're going to talk with Mike Campiggio, so that's going to be fun.
Oh,
So
already.
probably right around the same, not the same time, but probably closer to like 8:30. So right here on the channel and on the Facebook. So we'll see you then. Peace out, everybody.
Don't drink and drive.
Unless it's iRacing.
Correct.